my last video, I did some acrylic pouring and I made some backgrounds, most of which I'm not really happy with. I'm still learning how to do acrylic pouring, so you know, it's one of those things you have to practice for a little bit. It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And some of the backgrounds turned out okay, but for the most part I do not particularly like any of them. However, today, instead of throwing them away, I'm going to attempt to turn some of them into backgrounds. These two might be a lost cause, but the rest of them I'm going to try turning into some cool backgrounds for cards, and we'll see how we go. Okay, so first I've cut 8 strips out of my one of my pieces that are the length of my card, 5 3/4. And I'm gonna make kind of like a basket weave. So I'm going to put a little bit of score tape, or you could use glue or whatever kind of adhesive you so desire. And I'm going to put just a little bit at the top of each one. So I've seen a lot of people use their scraps and whatever as you know, as stripes going along a card, but I've never seen anyone do a basket weave. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna take 4 of the strips and place them equal distance apart. I'm just gonna eyeball that. Oh, why are these not long enough? Of course I cut all of mine to the wrong size, so I'm just going to trim down the card instead of starting over. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly trim down this card because I cut all my strips the wrong size. Good start, good start. Okay, so now they're like that, and then we're going to start putting these ones going across the other way. So I'm going to start somewhere up here, and I'm going to go over the first one, under the second one, over the third, under the fourth, and then I'm going to put a little piece of score tape right at the end here. Okay, and then the next one, I'm going to start this next one from the opposite side, and I'm going to start it at the bottom just so I kind of get my spacing right. So the bottom one is going to go, I'm going to maybe zoom in so you can see me a bit better. Okay, so the bottom one is going to go over this one, under, over, under. But I'm actually going to put my other two on there kind of at the same time so that all my spacing is right, and so it's easier to weave these through. Okay, so I've got all my strips like that, and so we're just going to kind of do the opposite that we did before. So the second one is going to go under. It's just almost like a little bit of braiding. So this one's going to go under, and then feed it under the second one, and over that one. So I'm just alternating, going under and over each one to get like a crosshatch kind of effect, okay? And then you can tack down all the ends, and then we'll cut off the extra. So you can do all of these techniques that I'm going to show you. I did them on my my acrylic pouring backgrounds, but you can do them with any backgrounds that you've created, whether they be distress ink or alcohol ink or any kind of backgrounds that you've created that you're not super happy with. They can, just by using bits and pieces of them, because there's always that little tiny piece that you really do like, and then the rest is like, So you can kind of pick and choose, cut apart your background and choose which pieces that you really like, or turn them into like different patterns like this, where you can't, as a whole it might look bad, but when you kind of cut it up into pieces, it kind of looks quite cool. So I'm just going to tack down these end ones, and then we will continue on. Okay, perfect. So once you're at that stage, you can cut off all the little end bits. And you can add a frame around it if you like. I don't think I'm going to on this one. I think this one looks all right without anything around it. So I'm going to leave it as is. For the sentiment, I'm going to be using a Forever in Time stamp sheet. It doesn't actually have a name, but I've cut out this Thinking of You, stamped it, and heated it with black embossing. Why won't you focus? Anyway, it says Thinking of You, and I'm just going to trim it down a little bit and plop it on my card, and bada bing bada boom, we're good to go. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I have that one little blob there that I don't like, so I'm just gonna put the sentiment on that strip like that, and then it's good to go. I'm just gonna maybe pop it up on some foam tape, I think. Alright, so there is card number one. I'll show you another one that I did with another really dark background that I wasn't really fond of, and that one I put a border around. So they look very, very different, but using the same technique. So that is the first one. For the second technique, I'm going to rip it. So let's see here. First I'm going to rip this corner off because it kind of got wrecked. Now it's not always easy because I've got a lot of paint on here. Okay, so I've got some pieces that I've ripped here. What I'm looking for, I want this torn edge right here, and I'm going to put them on. I'm going to tear this one a little bit more. Oh, too much. Okay, so now I'm going to take a couple Distress Oxides. I've got some Mermaid Lagoon and Wilted Violet. and I'm going to ink up the background with those two colors and then put these two pieces on, because I'm trying to bring out the purple and teals in there, not make it quite so dark. Kind of hold it with something else. That's not gonna work. And I'm going to kind of blend them together in the middle to create a darker purple. Okay. Now when we put these on, I might even ink up the edges a little bit. Okay, and then I'll add a sentiment just down there at the bottom. Okay, and from this same stamp set, I'm just going to stamp Life is Beautiful in black down at the bottom here. Okay, and there's another card. Okay, so for my next card example, I'm going to use die cuts. Now, because there's so much acrylic paint on my pieces, they're pretty thick, so intricate die cuts won't work in my case. But die cuts like this, like simple die cuts, will work. So I'm going to be using this stitched circle die. It didn't have a name, it was just one that I just got on Wish or something like that a long time ago. And then I'm also going to use, where is it? So I'm also going to use this Simply Diamonds die from Pink Fresh. I've used this one quite a few times, but I really like it. So these are the only two that I could get to work. I tried a couple intricate die cuts and that just didn't work at all. So we're gonna work with a couple ones with big holes. So I've cut out a few circles in different sizes out of one of the pieces that I didn't like. I kind of, the nice thing is with dies like this is you can kind of choose which areas you might like on a piece. Like obviously I wouldn't want to use that part. I'm not sure if I like that part, but I do like some pieces in here, so you can kind of like pick and choose the pieces that you like. And then I've also cut out some frames for those circles, and I'm going to emboss all of these frames in silver. So I'm going to do that now, and then we will put those on a card. Okay, so I'm just going to get all of these inked up with some, go on this side maybe, ink them all up with some Hero Arts embossing ink. So just some Versamark type ink, just a sticky ink. Just to get them all ready to take the embossing powder. Okay. Now I'm gonna kind of, I don't want to emboss on that side now that there's a whole bunch of ink on it, so I'm just gonna carefully move these all onto the other side. And I'll just coat them all with some embossing powder. I'm almost out of silver. Okay, put all my extra back in. Okay, so once they're all embossed, we're going to glue them onto our circles. Actually, maybe we'll put the circles on first and then put these on. Yeah, let's do that. Crafting on the fly. Alright, so I've got a piece of silver cardstock for my base, and I'm going to put my pieces on. I think I'm going to cut a couple of them so they're kind of in interesting shapes. So I'm going to put them on in different areas, and I'm going to maybe cut some of it off. So okay, so I'm just going to lay something heavy on this for a little bit until the glue dries. And then we will move on to our next step. Okay, so once it is dry, I'm just going to cut off these edges here. Okay, just like that. Get rid of these, and then I'll just put a sentiment at the bottom, and we're done with this particular card. Okay, so I'm going to use my Misty just to make sure that we're all good here. I just tend to, I have to, words. I have to ink things or stamp things often twice, and so with word stamps I really do like to use the Misty so that I know that things are where they should be. So I'm using a stamp called, what did I just do with it? It's from Impression Obsession. Be strong, be kind, be brave. I love that one. Okay, so I'm using that, and I'm just going to position it here. Okay, I'm going to ink it up with some Hero Arts India Black ink. Okay, and I'm going to do it again because it's not quite dark enough. Okay, it's not quite as dark as I want it to be, and now I have a little bit, I mussed it up a little bit, but it is what it is. I might have to put something else over top of that, actually. Shoot. I think it's because there's so many layers that it's not getting enough pressure even when I'm pushing on it. Okay. I might just cut another circle and put one more circle there because I don't like that little line. Not happy about that at all. So, well, this video is all about trying to save your mistakes, right? So let's try and save another one. Okay, so there we go. That's better, I think. No one likes a smudgy stamp. It's always a way to fix something. And trust me, I mess up all the time, so I'm becoming pro at fixing things. That's what crafting is all about, right? Trying to figure out, a lot of times some of my coolest things come out of mistakes. Okay, so there we go. So that's using circle die cuts. I did another one with that same failed acrylic pour here, and I used that pretty, what is it, the Pink Posh, what is it called? No, Pink Fresh Studio Diamonds design. So there's that, and just it did a couple simple circle dies, and then white heat embossed Stay Strong. And Stay Strong is from, oh, that was, the Stay Strong is from the Frantic Stamper die. I'm pretty sure I showed that earlier, but I'll show it again just in case. So that is that one. Just, I've done some of this off camera just so it's a little bit faster because this is probably already a 2-hour video. And then the last one in the die cutting part of it is using the inside bits from this die. So don't throw these little pieces away, the inlaid pieces. You can create another whole card design with them. And I didn't follow the exact thing. Like, it's a little, I switched it up a little bit, but that's okay. That's the fun of it. You can totally do your own thing. And then I've cut a piece from this Spellbinders Labels 9 Nestabilities die set. So I cut that out, and I'm going to put that right on there. And then I'm determined to use this, so I just stamped it on a piece of white cardstock, and we're going to put that down there, and maybe a couple Nouveau drops, and then that will be another card. So two for the price of one. And then I'll just show you a few stamping ideas for saving your backgrounds. Really simple ideas, but just things that kind of elevate. So I've got some Nouveau, some Dream Drops, and some glitter drops. Let's use the glitter drops on this one, maybe. Okay, so that's what these two look like now, with a little bit of Nouveau drops on it there. Just adds a little bit of sparkle. Okay, now I'm going to take a just a dot stamp from My Favorite Things, and I'm going to cover my whole card base with it. Okay, and while it's still wet, I'm going to cover it with some clear embossing powder. Okay, so it's all heat embossed. I don't know if it's picking up the blue very well. Then I've taken one of my backgrounds and just freehand cut out a heart. So I'm just going to put the heart down there. And I've got I cut out some kind of rounded corners. I think they might look cool. I haven't decided if I'm going to use those or not yet. Sure. Okay, so I'm going to glue these down. So you don't always need fancy die cuts either. You can just, you know, cut shapes out yourself as well. Okay, so I just die cut warm hugs and embossed it using some peacock feathers, or no, is it peacock feathers or broken china? Broken china distress embossing glaze, so it gets that like shimmer shininess. It's really quite cool. I like the glaze. So that's what that card looked like. I probably should have used the background for this warm hugs and did that just on white so it stood out more. I kind of wish I'd done that, but I didn't, so it is the way it is, and that's how it is. We learn things as we go. Okay, let's do one more. I've cut a piece at an angle out of one of my designs. I really liked this corner, so I wanted to use it somehow, but a lot of the rest of it I just didn't like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a blank card base, and I'm going to take some Wilted Violet and Salty Ocean and just do a little ink blending. Okay, and then I'm going to give it just a little bit of a spritz with water. And then blot it with a paper towel. I'm trying to kind of mimic this a little bit with like the bits of white that it has. I'm kind of just like mimicking it without being like over the top. But I usually go a little over the top because that's just my style. Okay, I think I'm into that. And then I'm going to put the Hello Sentiment there. And I think I'm going to put a black strip to kind of divide them. So I'm going to put this on, put a black strip across, and then see how we go. And then I'm just going to pop this hello up on some foam dots, I think. Alright, and there is that one. That's kind of cool. Alright, so this video is probably over an hour long already. So I'll just kind of go over all the cards I made today and hope that you got a few ideas on how to save backgrounds that you're not happy with. So there's the one we just finished. And then there's our warm hugs with the background stamp and just freehanding, cutting out some things. There's our basket weave crosshatch one. Turned out really cool. I really didn't like this pattern at all, but it turned out awesome. There's one that we ripped and did some ink blending underneath. This one I just liked this part of the background. There was enough of it that I like, so I just decided to keep it like that. I might add some like stars or something onto it. And then this one I also did off camera. Again, it's with that dot background stamp, and then just cut out just a piece of the background with a hello die. And then these ones with that diamond die. And then there's the circle one. I actually kind of like it all circles. This, you know, that it was a mistake, but now this is a card for all occasions. So, I mean, some cards I'm super stoked with. Others I'm not like in love with, but you know, they all have their own unique charm, I suppose. But there is some ideas to save backgrounds that you might not have liked in the beginning, and there's a way to save them. So I hope you love this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you did love it, and I will try to keep the rest of the card tutorials a little bit shorter than this. I'll just focus on one specific technique and go with that instead of going all over the place like I did today. But if any of you follow me, then you know that I like to go all over the place. Okay, I hope you're having an amazing day, and be kind to each other. Find your rainbow. Bye!